Hello guys and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time visiting, please be sure to check out my other videos to see if any of them might help you out with a do-it-yourself repair. YouTube provides me with statistics that show only about 10% of my video views come from subscribers. It would really help out with YouTube's algorithm to promote my videos if you would just click subscribe below. It costs you nothing and I would appreciate the support. Let's get on to today's video. Today we're back working on the 1993 Honda Civic. The passenger side CV axle has a torn boot that has slung most of the grease out of it. The joint is not failed yet, but I've been driving it like this for a while now, so it can't be too much longer for this world. If you're moving at a slow speed and turning left or right and hear a clicking sound from one of your front tires, that is most likely the CV joint failing, and it should be addressed pretty quickly. This repair video is specific to a Honda, but almost all front axle replacements will look something like this for most front-wheel drive vehicles. Okay, these rubber boots that are around the joints are full of grease and keep dirt and debris from fouling the bearings inside. When the boot rips like the one that has on my Civic here, the spinning of the axle slings the grease out and it starves the joint of lubrication. If you catch this early enough, you can remove the boot and disassemble the joint to check for wear, and then repack with grease and reassemble with a new rubber boot. This can get tedious and very messy, so I'm just going to hit the easy button and replace the whole axle. You can pick up an aftermarket axle like this one for less than $100 for this era of Hondas, and they're readily available. Okay, I'll go over the different parts of the axle now. This end is the one that goes into the transmission, and this joint here, which actually extends into this cup here, is called the tripod. The tripod allows for rotational movement of the joint as well as in and out. This is the end, of course, that goes into your wheel, and the CV joint is actually underneath this boot here. CV stands for continuous velocity, which means that the shaft after the joint can move in two dimensions, and that's for steering and suspension travel, while maintaining the same rotational speed at the end as the axle before the joint. A U-joint, like you see on the drive shafts of most rear-wheel drive vehicles without independent rear suspensions, will not maintain its rotational speed in two dimensions and would not perform well in a front-wheel drive application that requires the side-to-side motion while steering. It is my understanding that the CV joint was given to Japan to help rebuild their economy after World War II, and boy did they ever. Okay, let's get on with the repair. First thing we need to do is to get the front end of the car jacked up as high as we can. And then we're going to support just the right side on a jack stand, and then lower the car back down onto that. There's a reason I want this exaggerated tilt. It's because when we remove the axle, some transmission fluid is going to leak out. But this exaggerated tilt should minimize the amount that we lose. And finally, we need to remove the front tire. Next step is to remove the axle nut. If yours has never been removed, it could be a real pain to get it off. If your impact gun cannot remove the nut, you may have to heat this for about 5 minutes with MAP gas and then use a breaker bar to knock it loose. I've broken breaker bars in the past removing the axle nuts, and so good luck if yours is tighter than grandma's girdle. You can also see this indent on the nut that locks it into the place at the end of the shaft. You should be able to back the nut out without having to bend this back out of the indent. The axle nut on this car is 32 millimeters. I have the impact socket for that. Let's see if she'll come loose. Okay, and my impact was not strong enough to get that off, so I'm going to show you the next thing you can try. I have a pry bar here. I'm just going to set that in between the studs, and I want it to actually be on the ground on the other side there. That will keep the wheel from rotating in that direction when I put the breaker bar on it. So here I come in with my breaker bar. If you have to, stand on the other end of it and give it a good till it starts. There we go. That loosened up with the breaker bar. Go ahead and run it the rest of the way off with my impact wrench. Okay, after removing the axle nut, what I've done now is I've rotated the tire all the way to the left so I could look behind it here so I could get a better view of what I'm looking at. This nut on the bottom here is for your lower ball joint. It connects the knuckle to the lower control arm here, and we have to take this off. It is a castle nut that has a cotter pin that's run through it. So we're going to bend this cotter pin back. Get it, it's already broken. I have another one, but we'll get that pushed out, and then we're going to remove that castle nut now. Okay, this castle nut is a 17 millimeter, and I'm going to use my impact to back that off. Okay, now with the castle nut off of the lower ball joint, I need to turn my attention to this nut here. This runs through there is a bolt and a nut that runs through the entire lower control arm that connects this piece here that needs to come off, and I'll explain why afterwards. This is 17 millimeters. Hold one side with a wrench and use your impact on the other side. Doesn't matter which one, and go ahead and run that out. Alright, and with that nut off, now we can just give this a couple of taps to push it out the other side. You do not want to mushroom the end of this, so be gentle. There you go. Okay, with the lower ball joint nut off, we need to now lift the ball joint out of the lower control arm. If you're not concerned about reusing your ball joint, you can use a pickle fork that goes in between, and then you hammer it in and it'll pop it out, or you can hammer it from the bottom here. But just keep in mind that's going to mushroom this. It's going to ruin your threads. And since I intend to keep using this ball joint, because even though it's kind of cracked, it still hasn't filled, I'm going to hit the side of the lower control arm here, right where that passes through. I'm going to use a 3-pound sledge. I've seen mechanics beat the snot out of these things before, and I have too, so I'm not too worried about breaking anything. Here we go, watch your ears. Alright guys, sorry about the edit there, but I did get that loose. I was swinging the hammer towards the camera. I had to give myself some room. With the tap there, you can see that's loose inside now. Okay, now with the wheel back straight and the lower ball joint pulled out of the lower control arm, I'm ready to pull this up and away and allow this axle shaft to move out of these knuckle here. Okay, I can just let the knuckle hang here now that I have the axle out. One thing is, do not remove your tie rod end. If you do that, you may have to get the car realigned after the procedure. It's okay just to let it hang like this. You can see back here where I pulled the bolt out of the wishbone that goes through the lower control arm, and the reason for that is that when I pull this out of the transmission, the tripod joint at the end is too wide to fit through the wishbone. So we're going to pick the wishbone up off of the lower control arm and just slide this out the side. All right, looking here where this tripod side of the axle goes in, this is where it goes into the differential right here. So what I'm going to do is get a pry tool in between those and just pop this out that way. There's just a lock pin in there, a snap ring, and it just takes a little bump to get it out. Let me see if I can reposition the camera and get you looking up at that and see if it looks any better. Again, that gap there is where I'm going to put the pry bar and pop that out. Also, you want to have a drip pan ready underneath the differential there, because some fluid will leak out. That is why I have the car tilted to the driver's side as much as possible, because I want to prevent as much fluid from leaking out of the transmission as I can. Okay, so what I'm going to do, my pry bar is a little bit too long, so I've got a really long screwdriver. I'm going to come in at this angle. With my other hand, I'm going to pull as I pop. Sorry about the camera wiggle, but see, we got it pulled loose now. So I'm going to back up. I'm going to pull that pan underneath this. I'm going to head and pull that the rest of the way out. Okay, while we're at it, I'm going to show you that is the rubber around where the differential is your draft shaft seal. This would be a good time to replace that if you haven't already. I've replaced this one not too long ago, so I'm not going to be too worried about it. Just the two things to keep in mind when you replace those is when you want to cover them with grease on the outside, and two, you want to make sure that it's completely flat all the way around, that none of part of it's bowed out, and you might even want to use a bearings press to put that in there right. Okay, with the axle out of the car, I'm going to show you what my problem was. You can see here this boot was completely ripped. That is no good at all. You can see down where the joint is at, so that's been exposed to all kinds of road grime and grease, and that was eventually going to fail. You start hearing the clicking when you're turning in a parking lot. That is what that noise means. Alright, this is the new one here, and on the end in this groove you can see it has a snap ring, and when you put this inside of the transmission, that is going to click in there, and that's what keeps it from wanting to work its way back out. Also, when you put this into the differential in the transmission, you only want an 1/8 of an inch gap between the end of this and the bell housing for the transmission. Any more than that, this could cause the wheel not to spin when you put it in gear, or as you're driving, this could pop out as you deliver power to the car. And don't ask me how I know that. So we're going to make sure that we get this fully seated into the transmission with just about an 1/8 inch gap between this and the bell housing. Okay, with the new axle ready to go, I've got it in place here. I'm going to move it in between the wishbone, and I'm going to start to insert this into the transmission where it lives. Kind of give that some wiggle side to side as it goes in, and then after it's in, I'm going to go back underneath it and I'm going to check. I'm going to make sure that it's pushed up against the differential where it's supposed to be. Now, for some reason you're trying to get yours in like I just did and it just will not go. What you can do is take the axle out, turn it 180 degrees, and then reinsert it. Sometimes that snap ring can cause you a problem at that point, and that would be the solution to get it to pop in right. Let me reposition and get this buttoned up. Okay, I'm kind of laying on my back and have an odd camera angle, but that is how close the end of your axle, the tripod joint, should be pushed up against your differential, and there should not be any more gap than that between the two. If it's not right, you need to use a hammer and give it some light taps on the end. Don't go all out, and just bump it in until it goes. If it doesn't feel like it's going, then you're going to need to take that out, spin it 180 degrees, and then slide it back. Okay, we're looking right down the barrel here. We've already got the axle started into the spindle here, and you might want to put some grease on the end of that, just to make sure if you have to take it off in the future or anything, that it's going to be a little easier to get it in and out, make it a little easier for the next guy. Okay, so after I've got that done, I'm going to bring the lower control arm back up, and I'm going to run that bolt back through that wishbone and get that secured. Okay, with my lower control arm pushed back up to where it belongs, I did have to give that a little bit of a tap with a hammer from under here to get it to push back over the wishbone here. And the next step is I'm going to take a screwdriver and run that all the way through and get it centered so that way my nut can go through easily. Nut's going to come through the other side. Correction, my bolt. If it gets hung up, you can run it with the impact and kind of push, and it should work its way through. Just like that. Now it's a matter of putting our nut back on the end. Alright, and now we're going to hold this with a 17mm wrench, and we're going to run it with the impact the other side and get it good and tight. Alright, the next step, we're going to pick up on the knuckle, and we're going to get our ball joint back through where it lives here and come out the bottom. Now we're going to take our 17mm castle nut and run that back in. Do not use an impact on that till you get it started. Go as far as you can with your fingers, because the ends of these things tend to get a little boogered up, and they can have trouble threading at first. You certainly won't want to cross thread it. Run that down with the impact. We're going to find a cotter pin, push through, and get it folded back over on itself. Probably wouldn't go much tighter than that. Okay, now with our tower back pointed straight. We now need to get the axle to come all the way through so we can get our nut on the end of it. And remember I showed you that tripod joint at the back is for in and out, so it's not a problem to reach back and grab the axle itself and pull it back towards you to try to get to pop out the end of your hub there. Did come with a brand new axle nut here. I've gotten these before. They were the different size than the one that came on the car. This one fortunately is also 32 millimeter. So I'm just going to pull this out, start running that down. All right, so after running that down by hand, I'm going to go ahead and finish up with the impact, and then we're going to torque it to its correct spec. Okay, and this will be my setup to lock the hub up there so I can torque it down. You just have a pry bar ran through the wheel studs like that, and of course the tire is going to want to rotate this way when I tighten it, so that should lock it up and keep it from doing that. The torque spec on this is 134 foot-pounds. Back up and let you see that. Click. All right, the final step for our axle nut install is going to be to bend this part of the nut down to this indentation that's in the axle itself. I guess that's supposed to keep it from backing itself out. We're just going to use a chisel. Right here in my 3-pound sledge. And there you go. All right, all that's really left now is to put our tire back on the car, and we should be ready to go. Get back underneath it, double check, make sure that your axle is slid all the way into the differential. And one last thing I like to do anytime I've had the wheel off of this car or I've been messing with anything back here is you want to check and make sure that your dust shield is not pressing against your brake rotor. Give it a spin, listen, make sure everything moves free. If it's rubbing against that, you're going to hear the metal on metal squeal when you get going, and it's going to scare you at first, and you're going to take the tire back off. You have to figure out what's wrong, and that's probably it. So before you even put the tire on, save yourself the hassle. Go ahead and check that before you do it. Okay, with the tire back on and back on the ground, don't forget to torque your lug nuts to 80 foot-pounds. One more thing I'll say is if you did lose any more than just a couple of drops of transmission fluid, then you'll probably need to top it off. I'm not going to go into the procedure for that. There's plenty of videos for it. But I'll tell you this, if you do have to put more in, only use the Honda transmission fluid and make sure it's right for yours, automatic or manual. That's one of that and the power steering fluid are the two fluids that I make sure I use Honda Original for their applications of these cars. Alright guys, and one last thing I suggest you do before you get too far away from your jack and your tools is to take the car and give it a couple of quick starts. Not burn the tires off of it, but just give it give it full, acceleration for just a little bit. You want to turn the car all the way to the right and all the way to the left. Again, give it a good little acceleration. Now I'm going to go all the way back to the left. And this is just to ensure that I've got that thing fully seated in there, because if it comes out and you're too far away from your equipment, then you're going to have to get the car towed back. Alright, let's go ahead and wrap up this video. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I hope that's going to help you with any kind of repair with your axle you may have in the near future. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and I'll catch you on the next video.